obviously really easy for me to begin with. Fernando Mendoza goes to the Las Vegas Raiders. The pick that we knew was going to happen in February, I think. So I don't think we need to dive too much into it. Heisman winning trophy, quarterback for Indiana, national champion as well, face of the franchise for the future. Very easy. On to number 2, Adam, with the New York Jets.
Yeah, I think it's been rumoured for a long time it's going to be an edge rusher, linebacker, some sort of combination of the two positions. Arvell Reese has been the guy that a lot of people have been talking about forever. David Bailey has been mentioned recently. I'm going to stick with what it has been for most of this draft process, which is Arvell Reese. Really good linebacker, and I think although they have spent a hell of a lot on that defense this year, I think that he's definitely something that is going to be able to go in day one and really make a difference for the Jets.
It's something the Jets will do as well, isn't it? In terms of organization, I think they'd like the shinier piece. And I think Arvell Reese has got the higher ceiling, whereas David Bailey's got the higher floor. So I think instead of going with the safer option, it's typical Jets to take the guy with the higher ceiling, I think. So I believe that they go with Reese as well. I'm not on the recency bias that it's gone flipped and it's going to be Bailey.
Well, your pick now at number 3 with Arizona Cardinals, Andrew.
Yeah, I've got a tough one here, haven't I? It's do they take the one that the Jets don't take? Do they go with the edge rusher? Do they take David Bailey? Or do they look at strengthening that O-line and take the first offensive tackle off the board? A lot of people are saying that 3's a bit rich and a bit of a step, like a reach for Maui Noah at this point, not knowing whether he's going to play tackle or guard when it comes to the NFL. I think personally that's what they need to do. But I think they'll probably take, with a team that needs help everywhere, I think they probably take best available, which is probably David Bailey for them. So I'm going to put, as a thing, I personally would put Maui Noah in, but I think they go Bailey. Do you guys agree with that?
No.
You think it's Maui Noah?
Yes.
Are you going to use your veto?
Well, it's not a veto, is it? Because on my actual mock draft, I've got them going Maui Noah. That is actually what I've got them doing because I think that's what they need. I didn't know whether census-wise, as it's what we think might happen on the night, is do they take Bailey? So I was looking for more of an advice on this one rather than
well, I think they go for Maui Noah, and I think the reason they go for Maui Noah is because they don't take the 3rd pick. I think they've trade back. I think they trade back. No, that's fine for this. I get it. But I think that they trade back, they take the offensive lineman a little bit further back, and they bring in a few more picks. And there are teams that, for whatever reason, seem to be wanting to trade up. We are hearing that at the moment. So, yeah, for me, I personally think that they go O-line. I think they go Maui Noah. I know that it looks like it's high because you're saying pick 3, but I think in reality, I would say it's okay to have him there because we feel like he's probably going to be lower down, but they will trade back.
I do think that a lot of teams in draft history have taken sort of because teams in this position tend to pick high both years, and they haven't got their quarterback sorted. They're not going to sort their quarterback this year unless the Ty Simpson thing happens. But whatever with that, that's down the road. Let's kick that can down the road later. So what teams tend to do is get the protection, get the quarterback, especially when they're in these sort of positions. So I don't think David Bailey's like a wrong choice. I think you are right in the best player available situation. I just think in my logic would be they're going to get their quarterback next year, get the protection now,
Yeah, I was just
actually that's actually a really good point. Not so much for next year, but there is a lot of talk that Ty Simpson for the 2nd round or for the Cardinals to move up. So that actually does make a lot of sense. If they come back, they drop back, they take their O-line guy, They get the picks. They then use the picks to come up back into the first round, and then they take Ty Simpson potentially. So that does make a lot of sense to do that.
I do worry that they've got nothing in terms of edge rusher on their draft board. You know,
Have they really not got anything at all?
No, I think Xavier Collins is obviously that is like the hybrid, and then they're listing Walter Nolan, who's definitely inside, and they're listing Darius Robinson, who's also inside in my eyes. I think they're interior defensive linemen, not edge rushers. So outside of that, what have they actually got at edge rusher? Whereas they've got Paris Campbell, haven't they? And they've brought in
Isaac
Elijah Wilkinson as well. So
Elijah Wilkinson,
they need help. Paris Johnson's going to play left tackle, isn't he? So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't actually hate it now when you're saying it. Not that I hated it in the first place, but yeah, Xavier Collins is bust worthy at this point. Josh Sweat, B.J. Ojolari, not all that. Baron Browning, not all that. Walter Nolan, Darius Robinson, Roy Lopez, all up the middle. Our boy Roy Lopez, shout out Lopez. I think you've twisted my arm a little bit with that, to be honest.
Let's go David Bailey.
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. Well, I'm back on the board. Again, the trade down spot in a way. Best player available in a way as well. I'm going to stick with just the consensus pick on this and be a bit boring and go Jeremiah.
We have a conversation about it, Fred. Also,
can do.
Where did the rumor start that Titans were definitely taking Love? Because every mock draft that's ever been put out since the combine has got Jeremiah Love in at this pick, and then no one's questioned it or moved off it or anything. Apparently it's from the combine that they said they were high on him, and then experts started mocking him, and then everyone just went, "Yep, that's the pick."
You did, yeah.
But recently, Adam knows this already because I've spoken to him about it. I can see his smile. I was listening to a podcast earlier today, Fred, and it had Ran Carthen on it, who was the player personnel for the Rams. He was the 49ers. Then he was hired as the GM at the Titans, where he was the GM for a year, and then he was GM and vice president for a year. He worked at the 49ers as player personnel for...
Oh, you got his bio there or something?
I had a quick look into it from 2017 to 2021. So the whole length of the time that Robert Saleh was there. He talked about working with Saleh. He talked about being at the organization with the Titans on this podcast. And he felt like they were going to go Sonny Styles with this pick. He said that's when Saleh was the defensive coordinator and he was talking in draft rooms. He wanted Tremaine Edmonds. He wanted Fred Warner. That was the type of guy that they were after. That's what, Fred Warner is a guy that Styles has been mentioned to. And he is essentially the head coach. I know we talked about this he also come out in a conference and said he was really happy with his running backs as well, didn't he? Pollard has had four straight 1,000-yard seasons. Spears is young. So I think there's a conversation to be had. Ran Carthen being quite close to the organizations and the people who are within them. Could this be Sonny Styles at this pick? Because the other people that were on the podcast with him all agreed, and all three of them said, I've also got Sonny Styles in at this pick.
Yeah, I mean, I remember us talking about this ages ago and me going, why are you taking a running back this early? And nothing's changed for me. And I'd still maintain the fact that you've got Robert Saleh there now, a hell of a lot. I think they're going to want to invest in that defense. And I know that you could argue that they invested in it through free agency. I just think they're going to want to continue doing that, and they're going to want to give that to him and almost like his guy. And I think someone like Sonny Styles at linebacker, I think, is exactly what he's kind of been used to dealing with, like when he was at the Jets and you had them sort of linebackers there as well. I think it'd be ideal for him. I get the whole Jeremiah Love thing. Yes, the running back room is not fantastic. It isn't at the Titans, but I just don't feel like it's the time to go for your running back. The only reason you're doing it is just to have a star player to try and sell tickets. That, to me, that's the only reason you're doing it. Whereas from a team building perspective, I think someone like Sonny Styles would be great for him. And it's a position of need as well. They do need some help at linebacker.
I mean, you could twist my arm, but I just wanted to quickly verify the Tony Pollard stats because I don't really believe he's had 4 back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
He's saying you're lying, Andrew. This is an outrage.
I think he's lying. I just think.
Have you got the stats?
Oh man, like, come on.
Was it 1,002 and then
1,007, 1,005, and they were both for Dallas.
Right.
I mean, he did it.
And then he had 1,079 and 1,082.
So he's had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons.
Games either,
quality stuff.
I don't know. I just think.
Isn't that the measure of your running backs? Have they had 1,000 yards?
Well, it was when there was 16 games being played.
Look, I'm not saying I'm trying to convince you and twist your arm and get you to pick Sonny Styles. I'm just saying that this pick, no one's ever questioned it's anything other than Love. And I feel like a conversation needs to be had of, are we sure? So you lock in Love if like that is the common, everyone's putting Love there. I think
I'm going to stick with the common man and go for Jeremiah Love. I just think there's no smoke without fire. Everyone seems to be drafting him there. Yes, Tony Pollard's decent, but he's older. He's at the back end of his career now. It does get bums in seats. And yeah, he is the head coach, but I some organizations, the head coach has a say, but there's sometimes an overriding GM a lot of the time. Like, I don't know. I feel like we're thinking Tennessee's this really, really well-run organization. I'm just not sure it is. And I think
that is a very fair point that you've just come out with.
Exactly. I just don't. I'm gonna go for him. On to the next pick of the New York Giants, going to Adam.
Caleb Downs, best player in the draft, and I think that it's a position that they can do with they don't need loads of help on the defense, but I think it will help them a little bit. And I also think there's a few more. You could argue linebacker, but there's a few more out there. I think that you could have over time. Whereas for safety, I think there's I don't know if they're going to necessarily come back later on. I know they've got pick 10, but I would kind of think that what would make most sense for the Giants is to go for the best player in the draft, Caleb Downs, here. And then you've got the 3 main wide receivers still left. One of them, in theory, you would hope would fall to you to number 10. So Caleb Downs for me. Fred's on mute.
My headphones must be playing up because I caught absolutely none of that then. So it's okay. You don't need to go over it again. But who have you decided on your pick, Bim?
Caleb Downs.
Okay, we'll go Caleb Downs.
You happy with that,
with the Giants
fan?
I mean, yeah. If we can come away from this draft with 3 Ohio State players, I'll be.
You're so greedy with the Ohio State players.
Yeah. I think it's a big possibility as well. So, yeah, I don't think you can go wrong picking either Sonny Styles or Caleb Downs with that pick, and I'm happy whichever way round it is. So as long as we go with, I think that's right, taking the defensive player first as well.
So where are we going to go with the Cleveland Browns pick here at 6?
There's 2 options with the Cleveland Browns, really, isn't there? It depends which one they think they can get best value at this position. They obviously need offensive tackle and they need wide receiver, main help for them. They did address the O-line slightly in free agency. I think they brought in a couple of pieces on that O-line. So I think if you're not picking one of the top 3 wide receivers at this point, you're not getting the value at wide receiver at their second pick at 24. Where I do think you can still get help at O-line at 24. So I think they take a wide receiver at this pick. And I think they'll take the healthier option, and that being Carnell Tate, not knowing whether Jordan Tyson's injury will impact him during the season. So I think the Browns take Carnell Tate at this pick.
Yeah.
We'd all say the same thing, wouldn't we? Sorry, I know I was on mute.
Yeah. No, I think Carnell Tate makes sense. It's just a matter of which wide receiver you prefer. I don't think it actually matters, to be honest, for the Browns, because their wide receiver room ain't exactly great, is it? So you could go for any three. But yeah, if you prefer the one who isn't always injured, you know.
We've seen what Chris Olave's done for the Saints. He's very similar in style. He's not, not necessarily going to score you 15 to 20 touchdowns a season, but he's going to move the chains. He's going to get a lot of production, see a lot of targets, catch a lot of balls, and actually help in the touchdown scenario. And then hopefully you see a bit more from Cedric Tillman on the outside, and he progresses this next year for them. So yeah, I think that's the right decision for them.
On to my pick with the Commanders. Now, I think I'm a little bit best player available here. They've got a lot that they could do. I think I'm just going to go best player available, I think, for them. I think Dan Quinn, defensive guy. I mean, Sonny Styles looks fun here, but then Ruben Bain.
They have just brought in 2 edge rushers.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is that do they want to keep doubling down on that, or do you go? Dan Quinn, been around the NFL, he knows what someone like Sonny Styles could do for his defense. Yes, their offense could be better. Any O-line help, maybe?
I think their O-line's pretty.
It's pretty okay.
Darren signed the deal. Yeah. They've got Josh Connolly over on right tackle, Sammy Cosme, Chris Paul. So I think they'll need depth and they need more at that, but I'm not sure with this pick. I think it's either wide receiver personally or best player available. So
I'm going to stick best player available then and go Sonny Styles. Would you be too? I'm only giving you an opportunity to veto if you think it's ridiculous, but you just said it's fine. So I'm more saying, Adam, do you want
to? No, I don't think it's ridiculous at all. I mean, we were saying that we felt like defense in general is kind of where they need to improve. I mean, I know it is a case you could argue wide receiver, obviously, because it does feel like it's Terry McLaurin and not a lot else. But at the same time, I feel like if you want to go for Sonny Styles, I don't think it's a bad move at all. And I'm quite happy with it.
Okie dokes, on to the Saints with Adam.
I am going to go for Ruben Bain for the Saints. I just kind of feel like edge rusher wise, there's not a lot there. Chase Young, obviously, is there, and then it's like Cole Granderson, isn't it? And it's
they desperately need some help.
It feels like they need some help at edge. Again, they are another team that could go wide receiver, but I just feel like Ruben Bain is going to be worth more to them than what a wide receiver would be at this time during this sort of kind of mini rebuild that they're kind of doing at the moment. So yeah, Bain for me.
Yeah, I can't argue that at all. Kansas City for you, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm going to stick where I've gone with this for the whole of the process. I know all of the fans are saying edge rusher. Every mock draft that comes out that hasn't got edge rusher in there, they're kicking off. I've seen wide receiver in there a lot, and I think that rolling with Rashee Rice seems to have his off-field issues seem to have gone away a little bit in terms of what's going to happen with him. So they can roll with him as wide receiver. They have got some nice pieces still with Worthy as well. So I think they are very, very thin at cornerback, and Spagnuolo will love a new cornerback. I think they take the healthier option and they take Mansour Delane at this pick. I think it's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, I agree. Because we're doing what we think they're going to do. Yes, I agree. I think that makes sense. I would really like to see them take Jordan Tyson. I think it'd be really interesting to see what they can do with a big wide receiver that they haven't had for a long time. So yeah, I think that would be really interesting.
They have got a big wide receiver, Travis Kelce.
Okay, a big wide receiver who can move like slightly quicker than Travis Kelce would be lovely. But yeah, I think that would be really interesting to see what they could do with him. But corner obviously is a huge need, isn't it? Because they essentially got rid of all
both
of them
of their corners and they lost a safety, so they need secondary help. And like I say, they lost both of their corners, so
yeah,
I think they
completely get it.
They got the pick of the best one, so they may as well.
Yeah.
I'm happy to go that way. I know we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but I've seen O-line mocked a lot. I think that there is an option of that. I'm not going to say who it's going to be, but I do think that, again, it could be an option for them. But yeah, Mansour Delane.
They've got a pick later on, haven't they? So, and they're not looking for a left tackle; they'd be looking for a right tackle.
Yeah. I said no smoke without fire earlier. I am going straight to the wide receivers, and all the talk has felt like is that the Giants are absolutely in love with Jordan Tyson, and I'm going to go for it. I think sometimes some of these stories, I don't know, you sort of go down the rabbit hole where it almost becomes where you don't believe them. I believe this. I think a lot of people in the building are really into him, really into him, and. Yeah, at the 3 top wide receivers, he's the one that has the injury concerns. I think some teams just get over it. And Tyson going to the Giants is my pick.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Shane was at the private practice that was held, wasn't he? So I think in terms of that, they've come away. Lots of people are saying they're really high on him as well. So love that pick. I think if he's healthy, he's the number 1 wide receiver in this class. He's the most elite out of all of them. And I think if he stays fit, then we're on to a winner.